Good morning and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council. Happy that we could have people to join us this morning. And my name is Barbara Johnson. I'm president of the City Council, and I'm joined by my colleague this morning, Lene Palmisano. And sometimes before our council meetings, we have the opportunity to recognize outstanding achievements in our community, particular people, particular initiatives. And this morning, we have one of our employees to recognize. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Lene Palmisano from the 13th Ward, and we're going to recognize one of our inspectors.
Thank you. I'm actually going to let Steve Poor say the bulk of things, but I just wanted to say thank you for coming out. You know, we don't often invite in people who do our work out in the field, and that is who sees the work of government so tangibly every day. I think our field workers are really important. I think you get all kinds of people with all kinds of emotions and show up. I was just telling Marlene in the other room that, you know, we can draw all kinds of things on paper here and make verbal agreements, but Marlene and the people in District 5 and the field staff overall, you guys are there to help us really make it real. And you're the people that make it happen. You're where the rubber meets the road. You're involved in having a lot of very uncomfortable conversations from time to time with people, but you really are our problem solvers. You really are the face of our city every day out in the field, and I'm grateful. This is to honor someone who's been very close to me, where I feel like I've walked through fire this first term with all of the small building projects going on in my own ward specifically. And, you know, the number of times that I've had somebody call and just start talking about, so this is going wrong and that is going wrong. Oh, could you send Marlene out? Or they would somehow in the scope of talking mention a she pronoun, and I would say, do you mean Marlene? Thank you for being such a trusted helper and navigator of building in our city. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to turn this to Steve.
Great, thank you. Good morning. Marlene, we were across the hall kind of celebrating your career with us and people saying nice things about you and how much all those lovely things about your dedication, how much you appreciated your coworkers, how you really showed up at work every day, caring deeply about the citizens, working with builders, some challenging, some great, trying to, you know, protect the interest of the neighborhood as well through a period of great change and disruption in the 13th Ward. As I want to say, those kind of building booms in my mind are cause problems, but they're the problems of success, and they're good things, but they do come with a lot of issues that arise. You've been with us for 16 years. You've been just a great addition to the team. As I said, you're a staunch team member. You've got your back of your colleagues when you work on projects. I also mentioned that Marlene is not shy about sharing her feelings, and if there was things in the organization she thought needed to be pointed out to help us improve, she always would share those with me, which I did appreciate. I think she would want me to say something nice about Bill Smith, her supervisor, who I think was a great source of support and leadership for you. He couldn't join us today. He was involved with some other things in Iowa that couldn't make it, but I know that he's here even though he's not in the room with us. And your lovely husband is with us today. I think we've got a proclamation to read, but I wanted to know if you wanted to say a few things here in the chambers.
Oh, I gave it to Lene. I do want to thank the City Council for this really wonderful recognition. I am very humbled and grateful. And I've always felt that it was an honor to work for the City of Minneapolis. And I want you to know that my successes are because of the excellent team that I have had the privilege of being a part of. And some of District 5 is here, but really it's all of the inspectors together. We're all a team. And none of us would have success without each other's support. Bill Smith has been our leader until recently, and he recognized all our skills and our assets and encouraged all of us to achieve success at all times. And we've been a great team because we communicate well. We like each other, and we all like our jobs. So Bill is no longer our supervisor, but he's still our supporter. And we will continue to be a really great team. Even when I leave, there will be a great team out there. I'm proud of the work that we've accomplished in the Southwest District because it really has had its challenges. And we all know that our jobs are not just code enforcement, but our code education for the public as well as for the contractors. We know that a good part of our days can be in building relationships with the community we work in and helping to feel comfortable with the processes of construction in a district that has a really high workload. We have all appreciated the support of the City Council that you've given us. And I want to just thank you for this honor. I will miss my job when I retire, which is coming soon, and I'll miss the people I work with. And I really do feel very grateful for this. Thank you.
Marlene, we're going to miss you. And on behalf of all of City Council, I'm going to read just parts of this resolution, and we'll take care of that in considering it later in our agenda. But here's just a couple of the words that are in this resolution for Marlene Bach. Whereas Marlene Bach began her career with the City of Minneapolis 16 and a half years ago, starting as a clerical person working with building permits, and only 6 months later began serving as building inspector, first for the Department of Inspections, then for Regulatory Services Inspections, then for Regulatory Services CIS, then for Regulatory Services CCS, and finally CPED CCS, now serving as our senior building inspector. Whereas Marlene Bach with fervor and diligence has enforced the Minnesota State Building Code and all of the City of Minneapolis ordinances pertaining thereto. And whereas Marlene Bach has been both a spokesperson for and educator of the consumer of all things construction related, and who are often unaware as to what to expect from building contractors when they sign a contract. Whereas Marlene has served the southwest area of Minneapolis as the primary enforcer and interpreter of construction management agreements since its inception, thereby forcing contractors to clean up their projects and perform their services in an acceptable and professional manner. Whereas Marlene Bach served as the chair of the building committee and has been a consultant in establishing curriculum for the annual school for all inspectors in CPED and reg services and industry stakeholders to determine coursework that will be most beneficial for building inspectors, housing inspectors, plumbing inspectors, mechanical, fire, and associated trades. Therefore, be it resolved by the City of Minneapolis that Marlene has enhanced and improved the dynamic and the development of Southwest Minneapolis. Be it further resolved by the City Council of Minneapolis that Marlene has done exceptionally well in representing our collective organizations and the City of Minneapolis to the people of Minneapolis. Be it finally resolved that Marlene Bach is owed our sincere gratitude and our deepest thanks for all she has done and the impact she's had on the City of Minneapolis and all of us who have worked with her and enjoyed the fruits of her labor. Thank you.
I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy. Here. Worsami.
Present.
Goodman.
Present.
Frahn. Here. Palmisano.
Present.
Gordon.
Here.
Kano.
Here.
Wright. Here. Bender.
Here.
Glidden.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
President Johnson.
Here.
There are 13 ayes.
We have a full complement present this morning, a quorum. So next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Any changes or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, a motion to accept the agenda, adopt the agenda is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have acceptance of the minutes of October 20th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. The minutes, any discussion on them? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have referral of petitions, communications, and reports of the city officers to proper committees and departments.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Opposed? That carries. The reports to the standing committees are next, and the first committee to report is the Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. The Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee is bringing 14 items forward for approval this morning. Items 1, 2, and 3 are PACE projects. These are clean energy projects. Items 4, 5, 6, and 7 are liquor licenses or sidewalk cafe licenses. Item 8 is a license revocation due to the non-payment of taxes. Item 9 are the regular liquor business and gambling licenses. 10 are some changes in our Great Streets program recategorization. Item number 11 is the Affordable Housing Trust Fund project recommendations. And item 12, probably the largest item on our agenda from a financial point of view, are the reservations for our 2018 low-income housing tax credit allocations. Item 13 is a simple change in our sign policy for vacant lots and homes. Item 14 is a contract for property maintenance. With that, I'll happily answer any questions from items 1 through 14 and move approval of all items.
Councilmember Goodman has moved the Community Development and Regulatory Services report. Anyone want to pull any of those items off? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden. Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee report. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Madam President. The Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee is bringing forward 4 items for consideration. The first is approving a correction to the term dates for an appointee to the Public Health Advisory Committee, clarifying that the term of Raymond Boyle begins January 1, 2017 and ends December 31st, 2017. Second item is authorizing acceptance of a $20,000 grant from the National Marrow Donor Program. The third item is passage of a resolution declaring support for the City of Minneapolis to sign on to the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. And the fourth item is receiving and filing a blueprint for powering Minneapolis municipal operations with 100% renewable energy by 2022, and also directing staff to examine the feasibility of a third-party wind farm development with the renewable energy credits being assigned to the city, and also directing staff to release a bid package before the end of the year, requesting a current community solar garden subscription pricing for up to the remaining 4.5 million kilowatts of the originally authorized 12 million. And I'll move all 4 items for approval.
Councilmember Gordon has moved the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement report. Anyone want to discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Committee report, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Madam President. Today we have 7 items for approval. The first item is a gift acceptance for travel expenses. Second item is a grant award from the U.S. Department of Justice, NIJ, for 2018. The third item is a contract amendment for language services. Fourth item is a grant for increased video camera security along East Lake Street corridor. The fifth item is a contract with the MPHA for Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. Sixth item is a contract with the Department of Veterans Affairs for fire suppression and emergency services. And the seventh item is a staff direction hiring 2 body camera analysts for the Minneapolis Police Department. And I will move all items for approval.
Councilmember Yang has moved the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management report. Anyone want to discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Transportation and Public Works Committee report. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee forwards 9 items today for consideration. Item 1 is the water sewer service line repair assessments. Item 2 is a series of adjustments made to our Minneapolis Code of Ordinances to clarify and assign the responsibility between the Director of Public Works and the city engineer. Item 3 is the contract amendment with PCI Roads for the North Town Yard Water Main Tunnel renovation project. Item 4 is the cooperative agreement with the Hennepin County for pedestrian crossing study grant. Item 5 is the Downtown Minneapolis Transportation Management Organization grant agreement. Item 6 is the Northern Lights Express Joint Powers Agreement amendment and cost participation. Item 7 is the Mid-City Industrial Reconstruction Project. And the final item, item 2 items, is the exchange of property rights with the Hennepin County for 1101 3rd Avenue South with Hennepin County. And the final item is the 2017 Minneapolis Open Streets, and that's approving the 8th Open Streets event to be held in the Nicollet Mall this winter, and it'll be the first winter event of that nature. I move all items as submitted, Madam President.
Councilmember Wright has moved the Transportation and Public Works report. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Ways and Means Committee report. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam President. Ways and Means brings forward 6 items for consideration this morning. The first item is a grant from joint agencies for prosecutorial services to crime victims. Item number 2 is the acceptance of a low bid from Frontline for warning systems, installation of 5 outdoor warning sirens. The third item is accepting low responsive bid from Messenger Construction for items related to the convention center. Also a bid for Ebert Construction for Minneapolis under freeway impound lot improvement project. The fifth item is the third quarter gift and donation acceptance. And the final item is a contract amendment with Granicus for Swift 911 rapid notification system. I'd like to move all 6 items for approval.
Councilmember Quincy has moved the Ways and Means committee report. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
No on 3, aye on all others.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes on the report except number 3, which has 12 ayes and 1 nay.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Zoning and Planning Committee report. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just 2 items from Zoning and Planning. Item number 1 is an alley vacation near the Midtown Greenway and between Garfield and Harriet Avenue. And item number 2 is a vacation correction. It's just a administrative change at 1101 3rd Avenue South. I'll move items 1 and 2.
Councilmember Bender has moved the Zoning and Planning report. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Executive Committee report. And I'll give this to the Council Vice President to give the Executive Committee report.
Thank you. The Executive Committee has 1 item. It's a collective bargaining agreement with the Minneapolis Foremen's Association, and I will move that item.
Council Vice President has moved the Executive Committee report. Any discussion on that item? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the introduction and referral calendar. The first item is an item by Councilmember Andrew Johnson pursuant to notice to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code for first reading and referral to Zoning and Planning Committee, amending the definition of limited entertainment. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, we have pursuant to notice, a motion by Councilmember Andrew Johnson to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to liquor and beer for first reading and referral to Community Planning and Regulatory Services Committee, amending regulations related to license class definitions and allowable entertainment. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have a motion by Councilmember Fry pursuant to notice to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to housing maintenance code for first reading and referral to Community Planning and Regulatory Services Committee, amending provisions related to occupancy. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have pursuant to notice a motion by Councilmember Glidden to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to administration workplace regulations for first reading and referral to committee of the whole, clarifying business size determination for the minimum wage ordinance. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have under unmanned aircraft ordinance pursuant to notice, Councilmember Reich introduces the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code for first reading and referral to public safety, civil rights, and emergency management, adding a new section restricting takeoffs and landings of unmanned aircraft for special events. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have pursuant to notice, motion by Councilmember Glidden to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to administration for first reading and referral to the committee of the whole, adding a new section creating a division of race and equity within the city coordinator's office. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have pursuant to notice, Councilmember Glidden introduces the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to civil rights and referral to the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Committee, updating the civil rights ordinance. Excuse me, and any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. Pardon me. Next, we have a motion by Councilmember Palmisano to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to fire and police conduct oversight for first reading and referral to Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Committee, clarifying the working relationship between civilian oversight, the police department, and city government. Any discussion on that introduction? Requires unanimous consent. Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. We have unanimous consent. Next, we have a resolution, and I'll let Councilmember Fry give this resolution. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. First, just a couple reminders our city clerk has asked me to make. As we all know, Election Day is next Tuesday, November 7th, which is just a few days away. On Election Day, all polling places will be open at 7 a.m. and will remain open until 8 p.m. All voters in line at closing time will be served, so if you show up late, just stay in line and you'll get to cast your ballot. Now for this resolution. Minneapolis recruited, trained, and scheduled more than 1,600 individuals to serve as election judges this year, which is an impressive figure before, on, and after Election Day. This includes folks welcoming voters to the city's early vote center, folks processing vote by mail ballots, crews working at our warehouse to program voting equipment and coordinate deployment of equipment and supplies to the city's 132 precincts for Election Day. And of course, the head, assistant head, precinct support, and team judges who work at the polls on Election Day. It's really a gigantic operation and helps ensure every eligible voter has access to the ballot box. Elections depend on election judges to make the machinery of democracy work. Judges are thoroughly trained in election law and procedure. They each take an oath to uphold the integrity of the election, and they serve all voters equally without preference for any candidate, campaign, issue, or party. It's their service that enables our democracy to function effectively, and I know we're all extraordinarily grateful for their passion and their commitment. The City Council has adopted a similar resolution every year. It's actually a tradition. And although we didn't have a formal presentation at our meeting today, I wanted my colleagues to know that a printed copy of the resolution will be given to every election judge on Election Day as a token of our appreciation for their work on this year's election. And I know that I speak on behalf of all of my colleagues on the City Council and the Mayor when I say we are very, very grateful for your service. It means a whole lot. In fact, this year, 8,283 early ballots have been accepted as of 6 p.m. last night. 8,283, which is not just a record, but like a total blowout in terms of city elections. Of that total, 76% have been submitted in person at the early voting center, which is a chore to say the least, and I commend all of our staff working at the early vote center to handling that. A couple other statistics based on early in-person and vote by mail totals so far. Minneapolis has experienced significant increases. Compared to 4 years ago, we've had an increase in early vote turnout, which is a 192% increase. And also compared to 2014, we've had an increase in early vote turnout. So this is not even a city election. We're beating them. There are only about 29 hours left of in-person voting this year. The early vote center will be open to serve voters on Saturday, November 4th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Sunday, November 5th, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., and then Monday, November 6th from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then, of course, Tuesday is the election. If you need additional information, it is all on our city website. You can certainly contact our office as well.
Councilmember Fry moves the 2017 Election Judge Appreciation Day Honorary Resolution. Any discussion on that resolution? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Then we have the resolution honoring Marlene Bach for her service to Southwest Minneapolis, which we recognized before the council meeting. Any discussion on that resolution? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Announcements are next. Do we have any announcements this morning? Seeing none, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Jean wants to know.